Aloha everyone, this is Chesapeake Movie Thoughts. And well, news came out just recently, some pretty big news I'd say, that Disney is in talks to purchase Fox. Yeah, right, yeah, I know. And the idea is that Disney would purchase the entire entertainment division of Fox. From what I heard, they're not interested in the news and sports division, so those would remain Fox. But the studio, everything entertainment oriented, if this goes through, would belong to Disney, and that's going to change the face of movies going forward. Well, first of all, the most obvious thing you think of is Marvel. Since Fox owned two of the biggest Marvel properties, which Disney, as now the owners of Marvel, really wanted back, and that was XMen and Fantastic Four. Well, who knows if this deal is going to go through, or if it does, when that will happen. But if it does, I would have to think that they would probably still we'd probably still get the movies that are in development now, which are X-Men related. I don't think there's anything Fantastic Four related in development right now. But I know there's next year we're supposed to get the New Mutants, the horror movie New Mutants, and then also on the schedule is Deadpool 2, and the X-Men Dark Phoenix. And I would think that those would still go through, and then after that, the X-Men and Fantastic Four would be rebooted as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if this happens, if this merger happens, which would be fantastic for if you're a Marvel fan. I mean, because I am looking forward to Deadpool 2, and I am looking forward to X-Men Dark Phoenix. New Mutants as a horror movie I'm probably not going to see. But, I can't imagine those being canceled, so we would get those, and then we'd get them as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe after that, which, that's pretty awesome. Then there's other things to consider besides just Marvel, because they would be getting everything that is owned by Fox. That would include things like Aliens and Predator, I believe Buffy the Vampire Slayer is owned by Fox, if I'm not mistaken, and I heard someone bring up the idea of Anastasia. If you remember that animated Don Bluth film Anastasia, that was a Fox property. The idea of Anastasia becoming a Disney princess, which I don't think is going to happen, but would technically be owned by Disney if this merger goes through. Now, some people have expressed concern about the more R-rated properties. Well, we wouldn't get any more R-rated Deadpools. We'd get PG-13 Deadpools and things like that. And I think that that's not something to worry about. I've been a Disney fan for a long time, and I saw where back in the 1980s, Disney started expanding to do more adult-oriented content, like R-rated content. They just didn't brand it Disney. They came out with new brands, like the best known one being Touchstone Pictures. And I would think that they would do something like that there. I mean, if Deadpool is popular and it's making money, and Disney hasn't really... They haven't really tried to switch things up from when they purchase things. They haven't tried to switch things up too far from what's been working. Disney has been kind of risk averse lately, and the plus side of that is that if it's working, if it's not broken, they're not going to try to fix it. And so I would think that Deadpool would continue, as long as it's profitable, continue as the R-rated series that it is. Just they would probably have some kind of different branding to it, which would differentiate it from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So The other concern is like kind of a legal concern people have had, because like Fox is one of Disney's biggest competitors. So for Disney to take them over, Disney's looking more and more like a monopoly. I don't think it technically is, because it still has very big competitors out there, like Universal, and like Warner Brothers, and like Sony and Paramount, although one of the news reports I heard did mention that Disney has shown interest in purchasing Sony as well. But the idea is, would the government step in, would politicians step in and say, no, this is a monopoly, you can't make this deal? Which, if I don't know. I'm not no legal expert, I don't know. I don't think, to me it doesn't really say it's a monopoly. I can understand being concerned that it's heading in that direction, but I don't think it's there yet. So I think that yeah, I mean, if this like doesn't go too far, maybe they get Fox and Sony, because Sony's been kind of faltering lately. So if they get Fox and Sony and then stop. And don't take over any of the big things. You know, don't buy out any of the big ones. Then, okay, yeah. Oh, I just remembered. Avatar is supposedly a Fox property as well, and that's something that they've just heavily invested in their theme parks. Disney. So Disney, yeah, Fox is looking probably, you know, I didn't expect this to happen. It was a big, huge surprise. But, you know, in retrospect, looking at it, the Fox in its entirety had to be a pretty enticing idea of just buying out Fox. That had to be pretty enticing for Disney, because it had so much of what Disney wanted. Yeah, and yeah, I think Disney, I've said this before, I do prefer when Disney is making its own IP rather than purchasing it, but I have to admit that when Disney does purchase an IP, it does right by it. It's done right by Marvel, it's done right by Star Wars, and it turned out pretty darn awesome. So, yeah, I mean, there's some good things that can come out of this. If it even happens, there are things that could stand in the way. I mean, this is a big, huge deal, probably huger than Lucasfilm. So, yeah, it can fall apart easily. The government could step in, like people have been saying. But I don't know. It seems, at least lately, what Disney wants, it finds a way to get. At least that's the way it's been lately. So yeah, we may be looking at a much more complete Marvel Cinematic Universe in the future. We may be looking at Alien and Predator movies coming out, made by Disney, probably not with Disney label on them, but made by Disney. Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at Disney employing its skills on a lot more of these franchises that we love. And I have my complaints about Disney sometimes, though I am still a huge Disney fan, and most of the time they do pretty good quality work. I mean, I don't really have much to complain about. It's just my biggest complaints are about them, don't do that quality work in service of other people's ideas all the time. Just to pioneer your own ideas, which Disney has been good at. And Disney, this may be great for all of these other properties. That Disney might be doing them as best as we've seen them done, because I've seen Disney do that before. But it may be bad in some respects, in that it may be pushing Disney less and less to create more of their own uniquely Disney ideas and IPs. So, yeah, I mean, we've got some stuff to look forward to if this happens, and we've got there are some little red flags to be cautious of along the way. Not that we have much to say about it. We're the fans, and they like to say they listen to the fans, but they only really have to listen to us to a certain extent, because the fans don't make up in any given fandom. The fans don't make up that large a percent of the audience. We tend to think we do, and we really don't. It's the general movie-going audience that makes up the biggest audience. I know, it's depressing, yeah, but we fans don't have as much influence, I think, as we like to think we do. But that may be a topic for another video sometime. But anyway, Disney, Fox, keep an eye on it, because this could be big. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.